Today, we're talking about something that affects many families that often stays hidden: toxic, narcissistic grandparents and how they can manipulate their grandchildren to turn against their own parents. Hi everyone, I'm Sarah. I'm a certified coach. I specialize in abuse recovery from narcissistic, sociopathic, and psychopathic abuse. If you're interested in trauma-informed content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and let's go. Society expects children to have a loving relationship with their grandparents. But what happens when those grandparents are toxic and instead of supporting the family, they manipulate the child, distort the truth, and use their influence to turn the child against their own parents? Toxic narcissistic grandparents are experts at controlling people. And when they manipulate, they do this in a very subtle way. They plant the seeds of doubt in the child's mind, twist the facts and feed the child lies, and create false narratives about the parent. And this is all while they play the victim. Why do narcissistic grandparents do this? Narcissists crave control and admiration. They want to be the center of attention. And when they don't get it, they resort to manipulation so they can achieve it. Narcissistic grandparents might feel threatened by their adult children's relationships, especially if those relationships are stable and happy. They can't stand seeing their child develop independence or bond with their own family that doesn't include them. If you were the scapegoat growing up, your parent cannot stand the fact that you have your own family and you can achieve your own happiness. The narcissist wants you to be miserable so they can get their own supply out of you, and they know how to hurt you the most. And that is taking control of your child, making your child love them and hate you so they can watch you suffer, and that brings them joy. Another reason is that narcissistic grandparents often have deep-seated jealousy. They're very possessive. They may feel like they're entitled to the grandchild's love and attention. And if they can't get it through healthy means, they'll manipulate the situation to keep their power. They might create a narrative where they're the good guy and the parent is the bad guy, making the child feel like they need to choose sides in a triangulated mess. The manipulation tactics. Narcissistic grandparents use several manipulation tactics. I will cover 5 of them in this video. 1. Gaslighting. One of the most talked about manipulation tactics and the most used in narcissistic abuse. When a narcissistic grandparent uses gaslighting, they'll twist facts, use partial truths, or completely lie about what's happened in the past. When the grandparent says these things, they often make the child believe that their parent is the one who has always been wrong, bad, or the problem. 2. Playing the victim. Narcissistic grandparents will often do everything they can to paint themselves as the victim. They often claim that the parent has wronged them in some way. They might say things like, "I've always been there for your parent, but they don't appreciate me." This is a guilt trip that can be very convincing to someone who is young and very impressionable. And this leads us to 3. Guilt tripping. Narcissistic grandparents may use guilt to manipulate the child. They might say, "If you really love me, you'll choose me over your parent." Or, "Your parent is the one who caused all the problems, not me. I've done everything for them, and they just keep lying." Guilt tripping is often used to entice fear. In a child's mind, that fear is used to force compliance and often leads to anxiety and excessive stress to follow forced obligation of familial ties. 4. Withholding love and affection. Narcissistic grandparents might threaten to withdraw their affection or attention unless the child behaves in ways that they want. Their emotional manipulation is a way to maintain control of your child. And 5. Competitive rivalry. Sometimes the narcissistic grandparent tries to create competition between themselves and the parent. They see their own child as their competition. This is often the dynamic with the scapegoat in the family before the grandchildren are even involved. Narcissistic grandparents may encourage the grandchild to favor them by offering rewards or presents that the parents can't afford or give special treatments while putting the parent down by degrading them, making them look and feel like they're incompetent as a parent. And often this is because the grandparent revokes the parent's parenting right in front of the grandchild. Maybe the child did something that needs to be corrected, but the grandparent yells at the parent for disciplining the child. The child will favor the grandparent because they get to do whatever they want. Even though the parent is right, the grandparent will look like they are right in the child's eyes. What can parents do? Here are some steps that you can take to protect yourself and your child from this manipulation. 1. Boundaries. Boundaries may or may not work with a narcissistic grandparent. Establish clear, firm boundaries with grandparents. Let them know that their behavior is unacceptable and you will not tolerate any attempts to undermine your relationship with your child. Boundaries are key to protecting your child from this chaos. A good boundary to try is telling the grandparents that they will only be with your child while you are present. If the grandparent does anything that you have said would not be tolerated, you have every right to leave to protect your child. And sometimes, no contact is often the only answer for toxic grandparents who refuse to accept boundaries. 2. Communicate with your child. Talk to your child and reassure them that they don't have to choose sides and that you love them unconditionally. Be age appropriate in explaining situations without putting the grandparents down. You can say things like, your grandparents and I don't agree with a lot of things, and sometimes it's important to understand that when two people don't get along, it's better to have distance than to fight. Not only does this help explain to young children that it's okay to cut off communication with people who aren't the best for their health, it is a way where the grandparent's name isn't tarnished in the way the narcissistic grandparent's lies about the parent would be seen as true by the child. It takes a lot of time before you can actually say the truth about the cutoff with your family if they're young. I would suggest around late teens to young adulthood would be the best age to explain the dynamic with them properly. 3. Don't allow drama. Narcissistic grandparents thrive on conflict and love drama. Try your absolute best not to get sucked into arguments. Remember who they truly are, stay calm, and try not to give them what they want. Supply. 4. Seek support. It's very isolating dealing with toxic family members. Support groups or professionals who understand dysfunctional family systems can be essential in coping with moving forward from this dysfunction. And 5. Model healthy relationships. Show your child what a real healthy and loving relationship looks like. Demonstrate how to set boundaries, communicate effectively, and resolve conflicts in a mature and respectful way. Being able to show that the stories the grandparent has told the grandchild are false will often make the child question if those things said about the parent are really true. And remember, toxic, narcissistic parents are always going to be narcissistic grandparents. They do not change who they are because they are older. I hope this video has been helpful to you. Please leave your comments down below in the comment section. I will see you next time. Stay safe.